Hi and welcome to PikaCards. Okay, so I'm going to talk you through my deck. My relying basic Pokemon is the Dino. I have two Dinos, both with not great attacks, but they do their job. The one with Guard Press, taking 10 off of the opponent's next attack. For having like a basic Pokemon out is quite good, because they'll be hitting you with like 10s, 20s, so they'll be taking that down anyway whilst you're still doing 10s. Then having Deep Growl, it's a flip a coin, but if your Pokemon's paralysed, the Pokemon's paralysed, so that's always worth having in there. And then obviously I have my Zoiluses. One with the draw in, which means you can attach 2 dark energies to it, which is pretty solid because it boosts him up quickly, but they're from the discard zone. Then the other one with Crunch, which does 30 damage, and flip a coin. If it gets heads, then you discard an energy off the opponent Pokemon. So for having them as my if my EXs don't come out as my basic Pokemon, it's pretty strong to get rid of energy cards which they need to build up their Pokemon, especially if it's an EX or Mewtwo, which is pretty hard to fight up against if that's the first thing that comes out. And then I have my Hydreigons. This one has the Dark Trance ability, which basically means I can move any of my dark energies around, which usually by the time it gets to the Hydreigon stage, I've moved him back to my bench. So like I've got my Darkrai's, my Mewtwo's out, all sort of firing the big guns. So with this attack, with this ability, I can move around all my energies to the people that actually need it. But then again, I did play a game yesterday where he came in really handy. You do have to discard 2 energy cards, but it does 140 damage, which is pretty solid for taking people out. This one, if the other one doesn't come out, it does 40 damage and it heals 40 damage to itself. It's not as strong. It's the one you get in the theme deck, but I need another one to fill my deck. But it's a pretty solid card. He works pretty well. He's the new addition to my deck, but he's working so far. Then I've got Purloin, or Purlion. The first one's attack is flip a coin, and you can switch it. It's basically like Whirlwind, but with no attacking damage. Just means he lasts a bit longer. But obviously, if they have EXs on the bench, it's not great, that one. Then again, with this one, it's just basic attacks, scratch and slash, 10, 20 damage. It's when they turn into Leopard, which is when they come in useful. Okay, so my Leopards. The Leopard's a new addition to my deck because I've been sort of switching them out for. Originally I had Muckrow and Honchkrow, but they were in the old game, so I've had to sort of update my deck a bit. I like the idea of being able to hit off some Pokemon from the back. For instance, if I have quite a few EXs out, but they have a Pokemon that doesn't allow EXs to hit, or I can't remember his name off the top of my head. There's a Buffalo Pokemon that hits at 120 if it's an EX. It does 60 normally, and he also has an ability where you take 20 off. It's basically like having an Evilite on it all the time, so it makes it really hard to kill that Pokemon. So it's pretty much an EX killer. So I have these kind of Pokemon coming in to either take them out from the back, to take EXs out from the back. If also with this one, it has Claw Render. It does 50 damage anyway, but if the defending Pokemon already has another damage on it, it does an extra 30, which is 80, and 80 damage is pretty harsh for just a regular dark Pokemon. this one has tail trickery, it just means the defending Pokemon is not confused, which is always good to have, making the other opponent smack himself in the face. And then you got assist, which is coming really handy actually. It's flip a coin, and you choose one of your bench Pokemon's attacks and use it. So if I've got Mewtwo chilling on my bench, or he's been switched out, or with Pokemon Catcher or anything like that, it kind of works a bit like my Mew, and he does some pretty nasty damage if people don't know what his attack is. Okay, I do have a Sneasel in there at the moment. I am going to take him out, I think. It's just, I needed one space filled and I thought I might need an extra basic in there. He does flip 3 coins on his first attack and at times is then by 10. It's not the strongest of attacks, but his resistance is psychic, so like people like Mewtwo and stuff can't kill it in first turn. Then his second attack takes 2 Dark Energies. It's called Beat Up. Flip a coin for each Pokemon that I have in play. So if I had a full whacking bench, it'd be 5 coins. But I generally wouldn't have him out if I had a full 5-person bench. Okay, now to my EXs. I do have a Mew in my deck. He has proved to be completely and utterly solid, other than his HP. But having him out and being able to use anyone's attacks on the field can be pretty devastating, especially when they have something out that I'm finding incredibly hard to kill. And then if I get completely and utterly stuck, he does have Replace. He can move all the energies around if, like I said, Hydreigon isn't out to move the energies around for me. Yeah, he's pretty solid. Okay, then I have my 2 Mewtwo's. Obviously one's still a promo one because Mewtwo is next to impossible to try and get out of a booster pack. But I was lucky enough to get one of them, and spending about £35 on eBay is not what I want to do to try and get one. But Mewtwo is pretty simply said, X-Ball attack, it's solid against everything. For anyone that doesn't really know the game well, you times the amount of energy cards you have on you, and it only takes 2 to use, and you times the energies by 20, and you use the defending Pokemon's energy as well. So you can pretty much knock most Pokemon out first go. Yeah, he's the big gun in my deck, I guess. Then I have 2 Darkrai's once again, and they're both promo. Finding it next to impossible to get a Darkrai without having to spend another like £30 to get one off eBay. Yeah, he is a pretty solid attack. It does take a little while to power him up though. He does 90 damage to the defending Pokemon, which if they're not an EX or quite a high up basic, or along the lines of stages up, 90 damage is pretty savage. Then it does 30 to a back Pokemon, so even if the front Pokemon is a strong Pokemon and they can't retreat it out, you could probably kill off a basic Pokemon with like 60 health or less at the back pretty easily. And then he can also move around, yeah, he can move around the Pokemon because you have free retreat as long as they have a dark energy on them. So most of my Pokemon I have just put dark energies on as their colourless energies, because I can just switch them out, no need switches needed. That's why I only keep 1 switch in my deck, which you'll see in a minute. Okay, and I've got a Crestula. I put this in because I got in a boost pack the other day from the Boundaries Crossed set, just trying it out. It seems pretty solid so far with a retreat cost of 1. If it's the only one out, it's pretty decent to only lose 1 energy. It does take 4 energies to power up, but it does mean if it's fighting a Mewtwo, it's slightly harder to kill because the attack does 90 damage, which should kill Mewtwo anyway, unless it's got something on it, and it means that next turn it doesn't have a weakness, so they're not hitting it and doubling their attack. Also in between turns it heals 10 of its damage, so you can send it out, send it back, it heals itself, keeps sending it back out. It's pretty solid in that way.